with Stuart Brisgel and David Solomon every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. You think about it, we rant about it. Listen to us live on Facebook.
Hey everybody, happy Friday! Hope you're all prepped for the weekend. If those of you who can't wait to get out there for Halloween, put on those costumes, masks, good luck, enjoy yourself. Make it a fun weekend, make it a safe weekend, and I hope the kids finally get a chance to go out for trick-or-treating and enjoy themselves. Nothing like taking candy from strangers, Stuart, and that's an acceptable thing on Halloween. But speaking of taking candies from strangers, you know, it's amazing. I coached with a bunch of people. I volunteered for 17 years with a bunch of really good people over the years. I was a head coach, assistant coach. I did a whole bunch of things with kids. And I have to tell you that there is something magical about a coach and athletes, especially as they aspire to grow and to develop and to be. And as they get older, the amazing thing is they realize that the sport that they love, that they've dreamed about, could take them places. Is it a question of taking them to the pros? Is it about getting a scholarship at some point, going to a prep school or going to, a university of their choice? I'll tell you that my oldest one went through that about, being recruited and all that. And it's there's something awesome about it, but it's so much is not only on the athlete, but on the dedication of the coaches. And Stuart, it's amazing how a coach can either help to make a dream, or it is what you're about to talk about today, destroy one.
You know, a lot of I can be pretty aggressive.
Not at all.
And pretty judgmental. and I got to start off, there's a backstory. And the backstory is the FHSAA on a meet that took place on the 22nd of this past month that was taking place at Gulliver Prep as the host school. And I got to tell you that in all of my years, I have a stepkid that goes to a Dade school. There's a picture of Alberto M. Carvalho, who's one of the most well-known superintendents for the last, it's got to be at least well over a decade. I think it says 2008. And I could tell you with utter certainty that I reached out to his office, and I have no comment from him because he's not at work today. It is a professional day in Miami-Dade County, but it is Dade schools that's where this problem starts. And starting at event number 17 is where this problem began for many swimmers that were not able to compete, that did not finish, disqualified from all of these schools like Alonzo Mourning, right? Alonzo Mourning left, Hialeah left, IPA left, right? Let me explain to you, what do I mean? I think this is where everyone is going to be lost. In the world of swimming, there's typically organizations like USA Swim, who was an observing party. They provided the timing and the certification. There's another group that binds the entire state of non-USA Swim clubs called FHSAA that takes private and public and allows them to compete. I'll include chartered. And the rules of the FHSAA are that there is a committee for a meet of coaches from all the different clubs. And when a committee gets to vote, it's a census, majority rules. And I got to tell you, it's a great system when all parties aren't sore losers and coaches misrepresent facts. In other words, a bunch of coaches go in a room, there's lightning out on the deck, and they have to decide whether we're going to continue the meet or not. And one coach says, I don't want to continue. Another coach says, I do want to continue. Another coach goes, what's the options? And the arguments begin. So the story goes that on October 22nd, about 2:15, lightning was in the area, which means all swimming comes to an end. And for hours upon hours, there are lightning delays. In a normal meet, the meet would be canceled. But in an FHSAA, there's no rule on how long these delays can go on. There's no rule how enormous of a day can be made for the actual athletes, students that started their day more than likely at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And you know what? I got to tell you, the coaches are on buses. And I originally thought that private schools had an unfair advantage to these public schools. And you know what? I'm going to tell you they don't. But Gulliver Prep has no comment either on the subject. And I'm mentioning all these names with no comment, and haven't told you what happened yet. And I think that's the story. You know, when a coach goes to an athlete and says, son, daughter, we've got to go. There's no more buses. The meet's over for you. That is some of the most, I would say, hard-hitting facts that an athlete has to listen. And you know what? Sometimes the athlete is welcoming it because they're tired. I don't want to swim anymore. But then again, I don't know any athlete that's ever made a star on a wall or got recognized, ever always went to practice or a meet and was happy to be there. Sometimes they need a push to want to stay. Sometimes the athlete is submissive to the coach and doesn't want to disappoint the coach. So the fact is, on this day at 5 o'clock, the kids from Alonzo Morning, Hialeah, right? I believe it was South Miami Senior, and another school, which is, I believe, IPA, were told we're leaving. The meet is over. And event number 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're all told you're not going to swim. Now, college recruiters go to these meets. Colleges look at participation because this FHSAA meet leads to a statewide meet where even more colleges go and even more attention is put. For some people, it's the biggest swim meet they'll ever attend, the biggest sporting event they'll ever compete in. They may win, they may not win, but they'll compete and give it their best. And when a coach robs an athlete of that ability and lies about it, is where I got to draw the line, David. And I'm going to take a pause and let you jump in because you said don't go over 8 minutes.
Yeah, and you did. So, like, the crazy thing is, Stuart, what you brought up is actually crazy because I'll tell you what happened when coaches lie. These are paid coaches, Stuart, right?
Yep.
And they're not volunteer coaches. They're paid to make your kids better, train, work hard, all the things that we want them from a coach. And the sad part is that they're supposed to also deliver them to the meets, to the events, to the this, and to perform at their utmost. When they don't, because they're negligent, it's the kid who suffers. And I know people are sitting here going, it's sports, it doesn't matter. No, actually, it's really, really not. It's not about the sport. It's about, in the US especially, the opportunity. And I'll say this to you because my oldest son was we convinced to take him to this prep school, and there were promises by the coaches, events, meets, recruiters, whatever. None of them showed because none of them delivered. In fact, the coach didn't even tell us he was quitting, and there was a new coach coming in. We were lied to. And so all that effort for him to try to get recruited for a baseball scholarship to go to NCAA went out the window on a coach's lie. So I can respect, I got to tell you, I understand, and I know you went through this very lengthy story, but we're hearing numerous stories by kids, parents, who are saying that, their child, look, do I think that all children are going to be professionals? There's just no way it's possible. But the opportunities today to further your education in the US especially, and even sometimes now in Canada, we're seeing too, like with these sport and education combined programs, is that sport brings you to opportunity. And
David,
if the coaches aren't delivering, man, Stuart, Shame on the coaches. They should be fired.
You know what? You know what? Listen, I use the word lie. I'm going to retract it and say misrepresent the facts. And I'm going to tell you in this circumstance, I personally heard from a coach. It was there was no bus availability. The bus had to go. And
It's
then the
excuses,
head
Stuart.
coach
It's
goes and
excuses.
says there's no limit to buses because they're under contract and they're supposed to be made available. And then even after that, I was told that no, that coach that left the meet basically said, I'm not sticking around and wasting any more of my time.
Stuart,
I don't
bottom
get
line
it.
is, Stuart, no, I do. I do. And you know what? Imagine any job that we're in today and that an employee says to you today, I don't feel like working. I don't feel like doing my job today. What will we do? And that's the thing. We don't people don't realize that this is a job. Listen, it's a stupid comparison, but I was a volunteer coach at an elementary school. The coach at the other team was paid. He was the gym teacher. He was paid to be the coach of the team too. And his the expectation, what he was to do and what I was to do, we were both held the same expectation. But when I told people I'm volunteer, I'm not a paid guy, they went, okay, I understand. But the guy who's paid, why is he not? And then
Listen,
you got to deal with that.
I became a USA swim coach to volunteer, help out, and give
Yeah,
back.
but that's not your but that's not the same thing here, buddy.
Right. And you know what? When I'm lied to, and when the kids are
Oh,
lied to, and their dreams are crushed or lost,
well,
that
that's it.
drives me nuts. I
And that
can't
and that's
handle it.
And that's what I'm trying to say is that it's the real, the unfortunate is, and then we're not talking about 8-year-olds. You're talking about 16-year-olds who are on the cusp of that university opportunity. And those don't happen not only do not happen all the time, is that there are actually few instances where you can get them. And if you miss them, you can't get back. It's not like you can go back in time and, oh, there'll be another meet and there'll be another event and there'll be another thing. No, these coaches in the NCAA come to specific places and times. And if you're not there, you're gone. You're lost. Now, I know people are going to say to me, there are other ways to be recruited, and that it's you guys. That's not It's not the point of this. The point is that a coach knows, especially these schools, Stuart, the Florida schools pump out baseball players, football players, basketball players, swimmers. The whole this is what you expect from a Florida school, Texas schools, and whatever. They produce student athletes. And the coach's job is to make it
When the
happen.
coach draws a line, and by the way, it may not be the first time this coach actually made that mistake.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
tired of it, David, and I got to tell you, I lost my way in this rant because I'm just so angry, and I had to bite my tongue on so many issues that I apologize to all of our viewers. I got to tell you, this is wrong. These
Well,
people are wrong.
no, but
And you know
it's
what? I
beyond.
thought for a minute Gulliver Prep was an innocent in this. But when I reached out to them and said, listen, this is a problem, they came back to me, no comment. I sent the information to the school. We're not saying anymore. That is basically telling me they know they're wrong. They don't care about the kids and they don't care about what happens to them. It's
Look,
about
hey,
almighty dollar.
look. I'm not going to comment. I don't know the school. I'm not going to get into that. But I will tell you from my own experience is that at the end of the day, let them face the kids. Let them see the disappointment in the kids and how they've hurt them. And if they don't care, then that the school needs to get rid of those coaches. I'll tell you something. I'm tired of people getting paid in those positions to help, inspire, develop, grow these kids into something. But what they've do great, basically, Stuart, what they've done is they've taught students.
I got to throw in one thing, and you're going to die, and it's the last few seconds. What I told you, David, the head coach goes to me and says, it's the coach's prerogative if they want to stay.
You know what, Stuart?
And I'm like,
okay.
Hold on a second. There's a committee that you agreed to compete and the rules to compete with. So what are you trying to say? the adult, the parent, the coach isn't responsible for
Listen,
making a
Stuart,
poor
hold on.
decision?
Stuart, no. But if there was, for example, if a child, if the team was in danger, or if there was a certain mitigating circumstance, then I understand when the coach gets to pull the plug. In this case, this coach is just making bullshit excuses to cover up their own asses. And on that, folks, we're done. We're done for another amazing week. We really do appreciate everything that you guys have done, all the comments and everything that you sent us. Stay tuned next week. We just continue on with the rant. Again, for those of you who are not familiar with the rant, tell your friends. These are the topics that really folks don't want to talk about out in public. They're afraid, but we're not. We want to hear from you. So have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Take care. Enjoy it. Stay safe. And